So on AGOA, we understand that.
Tell me what AGOA is first.
Sure, it's the African Growth and Opportunity Act. It's been in place for about 20 years, and it gives duty-free treatment to African countries unilaterally, and that's what it does. And over the past 20 years, we've seen, frankly, China move into Africa, and so it makes you wonder if AGOA is functioning how it should. It's expired recently. I've heard from a lot of members of Congress on both sides of the aisle. They want to see AGOA renewed. The administration position is that we're open to a one-year clean reauthorization, and we should take that year to work together to find out how to improve it and make it better, rather than just being kind of a giveaway. You know, is there a way to have enhanced bilateral trade, more export access? Can we deal with the challenges of today rather than whatever we were facing 20 years ago?
Yeah, I noticed, I think it was today, maybe yesterday, but it was announced that China has a $1 trillion trade surplus. Did you see that?
I did see that. I
Yeah.
follow that pretty closely.
I figured it got your attention, got my attention. And at first blush, you think, well, how did they do that? Because we tariffed a lot of Chinese products. Well, they just went out and sold elsewhere. And they replaced a lot of their sales to us with sales to Africa. In fact, their trade with Africa increased more than it did anywhere else. Did you see that?
I didn't have the specific numbers, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, what does that, I mean, what does that tell you?
Well, what this tells me, well, on the one hand, you have China that has its own 5-year plans, where
Right.
their whole goal is just to export more and more. Last year, they had about $1 trillion surplus too, so unfortunately, it's not news. What it tells me is that, the United States and others, we need to take actions. Our trade deficit with China went down, and it's going down this year.
Sure.
So we're going the right direction with China. But it means that we need to, if we're going to have AGOA again, we need to figure out how to make it more effective so this dynamic doesn't happen.
Yeah. What are we going to do about South Africa as part of AGOA?
Well,
I mean, South Africa is clearly not America's friend.
That's correct. We've had some conversations with the South Africans when it comes to trade, and again, there are a lot of kind of foreign policy issues that I don't get into with South Africa, but when it comes to trade, they have a lot of barriers, not just tariffs, but non-tariff barriers, et cetera. We've made clear to the South Africans that if they ever want to have a better tariff situation with us, they need to take care of these tariffs and non-tariff barriers. They're a real economy, they're a big economy, right? They have an industrial base, they have an agricultural base, they should be buying things from the United States.
But if you extend AGOA for 1 year without reforming it, that's going to benefit South Africa, right?
I mean, it could. I would say we have a 30% reciprocal tariff on South Africa right now, which is much higher than the rest of the continent. So we'll control for it a little bit. But I think South Africa is a unique case. I agree with you, if that's your point.
Don't you think we ought to separate South Africa and AGOA?
I mean, I'm happy to consider that, right? I mean, Congress has come to me and said, we want AGOA. And I think if we're going to have a giveaway, we need to figure out how to improve it. If you think that we should give South Africa different treatment, I'm open to that because I think they are a unique problem.
Well, they're a unique problem for America.
Correct.
I mean, they're our enemy right now. I mean, they're buddies with all of our enemies, and they've been very critical of the United States.
That's exactly right, and that's why they're actually treated in a much different way. Most of the African continent, sub-Saharan Africa, has just a 10% tariff, and South Africa has a 30%.
All right, I've only got a minute left. I want to see if I can hit a big picture item here. A lot of us are concerned about Ukraine and stopping Russia. That's the underpinnings of my question. The president, the administration, I'll say, is in the process of negotiating a trade deal with China. Is that fair?
Yes.
And the negotiations are tough, right?
I agree.
And we've made some progress. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
But we're not there.
Right.
And things are sort of finally balanced in terms of us confecting a deal that's good for America.
Yeah, we're getting the rare earths, we're exporting our ag again, the trade deficit's going down, we're going the right way.
And this is a high priority for the administration, is that right?
It's very high.
Okay, given those circumstances, what is the likelihood that President Trump is going to support the bill to place massive sanctions on China for buying Russian oil.
Are you talking about the Senator Graham bill?
Yes.
So,
Which, by the way, I support.
well,
But we keep talking about like it's a possibility.
that's
I'm thinking, on what planet? Not the planet Earth. So you're telling me, I mean, here's my point. You're going to spend, the administration spending all this time and work confecting a trade agreement with China, and as soon as you get it done, we're going to blow it up?
well, what I would say.
I'm not saying we shouldn't, but
Sure.
I'm trying to get us to be realistic in the Senate about going to Plan B for dealing with Russia and Ukraine.
Sure. So what I would say is the White House and USTR, we've looked very closely with the Graham bill. I've talked to Senator Graham. I think notionally we support the bill. We've given some technical assistance, et cetera. With China, we have very high tariffs on China already, right? At some point, a tariff, you reach a certain level and beyond it, its relevance becomes a little less, right? But we think it's a powerful bill. It's not China specific. It's really about Russia, and it's about anyone who's buying or would have purchased fuel from Russia. So we see it as something that's really Russia specific, less China specific.
So how come the administration hasn't given us the green light to pass the bill?
You know what? After this, I'll go talk to James Braden, James Blair, and say, what's going on, guys?
Because you understand, we're not going to pass it until the president
Oh, I
says it's
understand.
okay.
I'll go back and we'll talk about where we are on it because we've been giving technical assistance and we've discussed it internally.
Yeah, I just don't want us to waste any more time on this subject. We need to go to Plan B. Some of us are worried about Ukraine and pushing back on Russia, and there is a Plan B, but we're not going to go to it until, as long as we keep dancing around this issue of realistically whether the president really is going to blow up a trade deal with China by giving us the green light to pass this bill.
Well, Senator, one thing I would say is in all of our trade deals, we're keeping tariffs on countries. We modify them, but we're keeping tariffs. So, there's not really a world where we're going to zero tariffs on the whole world, right? And even China, I think, part of our deal is we have some tariffs on them and, they have some restrictions on us. It's a managed trade situation. So I think, and again, the bill, my understanding isn't, you have to go to 500% on the whole world all at once. I think there's some discretion in there. But again, I'll go back to White House Ledge and we'll talk about it and give you an update on where the White House is on that.